My name is Manfred Helber and I'm a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional in the category Cloud and Data Center. This session will be a full live demo session where we have a look at how to install Windows Admin Center and how to configure it for the next steps to be prepared to deploy Azure Stack HCI. So let's switch to the demo environment. I've prepared a Windows Server 2022 server operating system. It's a Windows Server standard installation. And as soon as I open the Server Manager, I can see information that I could try to manage servers with Windows Admin Center. It's a default pop-up window that is shown, and I can get more information at aka.ms/Windows Admin Center. So this is your short link for additional information, aka.ms/Windows Admin Center. When I click on this, my Edge browser on the server will pop up, and there I can get additional information about Windows Admin Center. And here I can also download the Windows Admin Center in the latest version. I already prepared this, so I've already downloaded Windows Admin Center, so it's already on my machine. So we save the download time, and it's in the downloads folder. It's Windows Admin Center 2110. It's the latest released version. There's a preview version of the next version, but we want to work in this video here with the release version, so the latest version we actually can use for production environment. I will start the installer here, and I will see a welcome Windows Admin Center screen. So the first step in the Windows Admin Center setup is to accept the licensing terms. I will accept the licensing terms here and click on Next. I will send required and optional diagnostics data to Microsoft. This is your decision, but my recommendation is to provide this information to Microsoft to enable Microsoft to optimize the products and the solutions. Then I want to use Microsoft Update to check for updates for this specific software for the Windows Admin Center. In the next step, I can see here that there are different deployment options available for Windows Admin Center. Windows Admin Center can be installed on a client computer, Windows 10 or Windows 11. I'm installing Windows Admin Center on a Windows Server operating system, and the setup recognizes that I'm working on a server and then that I will install the server as a gateway server that enables us to work from several clients, because as you know, we use a web browser to access the Windows Admin Center to use our management tools there. You can learn more about these different scenarios by clicking the link with additional information about installation options. I will click on Next. Then we will use Windows Admin Center to modify machines' trusted host settings. This is required if you don't want to bring this information manually to the trusted hosts list. I will automatically update Windows Admin Center, and I will not use WinRM over HTTPS. We could check this option to increase security, but then we maybe have to configure additional options to ensure that we can access the relevant information. Default port can be used because this is my dedicated management server. I will redirect HTTPS port 82 traffic to HTTPS, and I will use the provided self-signed certificate because this is a demo machine, this is a testing machine. Please keep in mind that this certificate will expire within 60 days. So the recommendation is to use an SSL certificate installed on this computer provided by a certificate issuer you trust. This can be your internal certification instance. Usually I would recommend to use one of the well-known external certificate issuers for your certificate you will use for Windows Admin Center. Now click on Install, and the installation of Windows Admin Center will start. The interesting thing about this installation is that this installation wizard installs everything we need for the Windows Admin Center. It installs a small web server We don't use the Internet Information Server in Windows Server. This would be way too complex. Here we are using a small embedded web server. There's no database needed. It doesn't deploy any database. It's really only the small embedded web server and the portal side files that are extracted here actually in this setup step. Because as I mentioned, it's a web-based portal. We can access this portal from a supported web browser. Officially supported are Microsoft Edge and the Google Chrome browser. I always prefer the Edge browser because this is the from Microsoft designed browser. Yes, it uses the Chromium engine, but it's not the Chrome browser, it's Microsoft Edge. You can decide for both. Both are supported. Other browsers may work, but they are not officially supported. These are the only two browsers on the support list. Here you have to calculate a few minutes till the deployment has finished of the Windows Admin Center on this machine. The installation file itself is very small. When we have a look at the Windows Admin Center file I downloaded, it's something like 80 megabytes. So it's really very, very small installer. And you will be surprised how powerful this tool here is. You don't have to license it. You only need a platform where this Windows Admin Center runs. Please don't install it on your ASHCI ASHCI nodes. From the technical perspective, it's possible to install Windows Admin Center also on the server core installation, but the recommendation is to install it on a dedicated management host or on a management client. So it's configuring the CRAD SSP session configuration and so on. And when it's finished, we can access the portal site. Now it creates the self-signed certificate. This was my decision here because we don't want to work and spend time on requesting the certificate. For testing and demoing, it's fine. See what browsers are supported is the second link. The first one is to open the Windows Admin Center main page. If I click immediately on this link after I've installed the Windows Admin Center, maybe I will see an error on the web page because the services are not up and running yet. So it's good to wait a few minutes till everything has really finished, and then I can click here on the link, can open it, and in the first connect to my Windows Admin Center, I have to authenticate. This is good because Windows Admin Center does not disable the authentication on this machine or something like this. It's really only for management. And here we are. Now we'll see the successful installation of version 21.10. I can read what's new. Here in the list, I already have my gateway server, and the first step is to check for the settings in the Windows Admin Center. So let's go to the settings with this gear symbol on the upper right-hand side. Here we have several symbols in the Windows Admin Center. We have the symbol for PowerShell, where we can display what happens in the actual step. We have the notifications. Here we can see what's actually the workload in the Windows Admin Center, what's actually the status of the processes. Here we have the settings and the information. If you are at the Windows Admin Center where you don't know anything about the installation, you can click on this question mark. You will see the version, the build, and you have the ability to give feedback, request, or access the documentation here. And in the gear symbol, the settings, we have access to the settings. First, we have the Azure account. It would be possible to register here with Azure. We will register Windows Admin Center with Azure in the module Registering Azure Stack HCI in Microsoft Azure and activating Azure Arc. So this will be shown in a later module. We have the language region. This is relevant if you want to have another language displayed. I would recommend you to use English. We have the personalization. Here you can switch between the light and the dark mode, depending on what you prefer. Then we have the suggestions. In the Windows Admin Center, at several screens, you will have suggestions or recommendations. You can disable them here if you don't want to be informed about possible alternate new features. Then we have the advanced settings. Here you can add such called experimental keys. If you are testing Azure Stack HCI, you sometimes maybe will be in the situation that you want to use some preview features that are not enabled for every customer. And then you can add the provided experimental key. Such a key is, for example, actually available for multi-server management dashboard. And then you have the additional functionality here. We have the performance profile here. We have the access for the gateway. This is important if we want to use multi-factor authentication via Azure Active Directory. We have diagnostics and feedback. We selected this in the installation. We have the installation, the extensions. We'll come back to this in a few seconds. We have the general settings. Is the question, when does a session expire? So after specific time of inactivity, then the session will expire, and then I will re-authenticate. You will see in several of my demos that I have situations where the session expires and I have to re-authenticate. This is good to have this re-authentication because it's a question of security. We have the internet access. Here can we decide which access level does Windows Admin Center have? Full internet access? Only the Azure services? Or no internet access? For managing Azure Stack HCI, we minimum need the Azure services. Usually we will have the configuration for full internet access. For sure, your firewall also must have rules that provide this access to this Windows Admin Center machine. We can configure proxy settings. I don't have a proxy in my environment, but in many enterprise companies, we have traditionally proxy servers, can configure them here. Then we have the registration with Azure. There are several areas where you can register the Windows Admin Center with Azure. Here is one page where you can do it. You can also do it when you enable the first hybrid service. And this is where we will see how to register the Windows Admin Center in Azure. We have the shared connections. If many users, many administrators access the Windows Admin Center, then you can add shared connections. And we have the automatic update for Windows Admin Center. So we can switch this here off to ensure that Windows Admin Center is self-updated. So important is to understand the extensions, because when we use the Windows Admin Center, and now we only have the gateway, let's select the gateway, then we will see we have several tools on the left-hand side. This is our tools list. And some of the tools are there by default. Other tools have to be provided via the extensions. So in installing extensions, I will get several new entries in the tools list. When I go to the settings now and have a look at the extensions list, I will see extensions from Microsoft, for example, for Active Directory, Cloud Shell Preview. Then we also see extensions from partners, from hardware partners, from software partners. So this is the interesting thing about the extensions, that they don't stop at the software level. So we also can install extensions for third-party tools and for hardware management here in the list. This list is provided by the official extension feed. We can add individual extension feeds, but as always, if you install packages from non-trusted locations, in the default configuration it's blocked. If you allow it, you have to verify what you install. The extension feed here is verified by Microsoft. This is the official extension feed. So we have seen there are several extensions. We have a configuration to update extensions automatically, but we see there are several extensions that need an update, and I will not wait for the automatic update because I don't know when exactly it will occur. I will update them manually because I need the cluster creation for the next video module to deploy a 2-node Azure Stack HCI cluster with Windows Admin Center. So I will update this here via clicking on Update and clicking on OK. Wait a few seconds because this page is reloaded, and we can see, oh, the cluster creation is installed or updated. It was installed, but now it's updated. I also need the cluster manager. I will deploy an Azure Stack HCI cluster, but I also want to manage the Azure Stack HCI cluster. Then I will have the failover clustering tools. I also want to update them here. Then I will need an update for my virtual machines and virtual switches. It's also in the list. Then I will update my update management module because we will also see how to install updates for such an Azure Stack HCI cluster managed by Windows Admin Center. Then I will update my storage component. We will not configure any storage drives or storage volumes via Windows Admin Center. We use the cluster module here, the failover cluster module, when we manage Azure Stack HCI, but I will also update this here, the storage migration service and so on. So you can see it's a manual process if you want to ensure to be immediately on the latest version of these updates. For us, the cluster things were important, and I will check if there are some cloud-related things. For example, Azure Security Center. I will also update this. And if you are thinking, oh man, do I have to update them all individually? No, you can just leave the Windows Admin Center, but I don't want to leave the Windows Admin Center and then look later for the updates. I want to have them immediately. And if you have a new installation of Windows Admin Center and you will need these updated extensions immediately, then you have to click through manually. Otherwise, you just wait for the update and then you have it. So in a production environment, the automatic update functionality should work. If not, you will realize it here and see that there are a lot of updates that have to be installed. So for now, what's important? If we only want to deploy Azure Stack HCI clusters, we don't need to add the Azure Stack HCI nodes. But I will show you how we can add the server nodes if we want to have access to them before deploying Azure Stack HCI clusters on them. We have already prepared some servers and I can add them here. I can go to add, and as you can see here, we can add servers, we can add existing clusters, we can create new clusters, we can add Windows PCs, we can add Azure VMs, and we can create new Azure VMs. Let's add new servers here. And Azure Stack HCI is also a server. I will add the D102 minus Azure Stack HCI 21. This is one of my nodes I deployed previously. I have to authenticate once. I will provide my password, and I will add this machine with credentials. And I will save this in the browser to ease the configuration or the adding of servers next time. So I found the server. Here's a checkbox to add the server with exactly the name as entered. You know this issue that sometimes you have servers in traditional management tools, sometimes with uppercase letters, sometimes with lowercase letters. If you want to avoid this, here we can also see my Windows Admin Center machine is lowercase. I entered here with uppercase letters. Then you can say, please add the server name exactly as entered. I don't care about this. For me, it's only relevant to have the correct name here. And so I don't check this checkbox. I can, it's optional, it's not required. I can also add another node. We have a second one, D102 minus Azure Stack ASHCI 0, not 0, it's 22. And I can also add this server here. Now I have my credentials already here and add this server with credentials. When I have additional servers in the list, I can access these servers to configure server-related settings. So I could, for example, here at the server, say, okay, let's go to the first node and prepare some things on the node. Here I see the dashboard. I see this is a virtual machine. Here I can see this is the Azure Stack ASHCI operating system. So my target machine is not Windows Server, it's Azure Stack ASHCI OS. I can check the installed applications on the target machine. No records actually found. I could install roles and features. I could configure system settings and so on. Maybe if you are using a physical host, you need to update some devices. So the host is provisioned, but maybe you need some specific drivers for network adapter cards. Maybe you need some specific drivers for system devices or storage controllers. Here you have access to the devices you can configure here.